In the hidden world of global espionage, the most dangerous weapon isn't a missile or a stealth bomber, it's silence. The kind of silence that falls when a billion-dollar surveillance network, the digital eyes and ears of an entire nation, suddenly goes blind. Espionage is a high-stakes game where governments spy to protect their national interests. In this world, a system failure isn't just an inconvenience, it's a catastrophe that can expose agents, compromise missions, and hand victory to the other side. So, what happens in the moments after the screen goes dark? What's the playbook for recovery when an entire operation is about to collapse? It's 2:17 a.m. During the most critical phase of a hypothetical mission called Operation Nightshade, the unthinkable happens. The agency's main surveillance network, a web of signals intelligence and human-led data streams, goes completely dark. On a screen in a secure facility, a world map that was just pulsing with information is now a dead, black void. In that instant, undercover agents are left exposed. The mission is on the verge of failure, and a covert recovery team has to race against the clock, all without letting their targets know that anything is wrong. Operation Nightshade is the height of modern intelligence gathering. The goal? To track and stop a global threat network's complex logistics. This isn't just about listening to phone calls. We're talking about a layered system that weaves together satellite images, signals intelligence or SIGINT, financial tracking, and on-the-ground human sources into one clear picture. When that system fails, it's more than just data loss. It means agents in hostile territory who rely on that network for their own safety are suddenly working without a net. It means the adversary, who was moments from being caught, now has a chance to escape, and maybe even realize they're being watched. The stakes in espionage are absolute. A failure doesn't just cost money, it can cause diplomatic crises, the loss of a strategic edge, and a very real human toll. Communications are vital for these secret operations, but they're also a huge vulnerability if an enemy can detect them. When a system like this goes down, the first question isn't what broke, it's who knows. The mission's priority instantly shifts from success to damage control, and the first rule is to keep the failure a secret, no matter what. This is where the spy agency's playbook opens to its first chapter, immediate containment. A specialized unit, often called a Technical Operations Recovery Team, gets activated. This isn't your company's IT department. These are engineers and analysts with top-level security clearances who are trained to work under intense pressure. Their first move isn't to start fixing things, it's to build a wall around the failure. Using protocols known as circuit breakers, they immediately cut off the broken parts of the network from the healthy ones. This stops a cascade failure, where one bad component brings down everything else. At the same time, a crisis war room is set up, pulling together tech experts and intelligence analysts. The analysts have one job: figure out the operational impact. How many agents are in danger? How long before the target gets away? It's a lot like a business impact analysis, but instead of calculating lost revenue, they're calculating the risk to human lives and the mission. From this, they set two key timelines: the recovery time objective, or RTO, the absolute longest they have to restore critical functions before the mission is lost for good. In an operation like this, the RTO might not be days or hours, but as short as 30 minutes, and the recovery point objective, or RPO, the amount of data loss they can tolerate. For a spy agency, The RPO is often close to zero. Once the failure is contained, the hunt for the root cause begins. This is a high-tech forensic investigation done at incredible speed. The team can't just assume it was a hardware glitch. They have to weigh every possibility: a sophisticated cyber attack from a rival nation, a brand new software vulnerability, or even a threat from the inside. AI has made this process much faster. Just as attackers use AI to automate their assaults, defenders use it to fight back. AI-powered diagnostic tools can sift through enormous amounts of logs and network traffic in seconds, spotting anomalies that a human team might take days to find. These systems are trained to look for tiny deviations from normal behavior, the digital fingerprints of an intruder. The team might use methods like the 5 whys, a simple but effective technique of asking why over and over until you hit the real cause. For example, why did the network fail? A central server cluster failed. Why did it fail? It was overloaded with requests. Why was it overloaded? A subroutine got stuck in an infinite loop. Why did it loop? It received a malformed data packet. And why was the packet malformed? That final why is everything. It tells them if the cause was a simple bug or a targeted malicious attack. This careful process makes sure they're curing the disease, not just treating the symptoms. You don't reboot a global intelligence network like you reboot a laptop. The recovery has to be strategic and done in stages. This is where something called a dependency graph is essential. It's a map showing how every piece of the system relies on the others. You can't bring the analytics engine back online before the encrypted databases it relies on are stable. You can't restore the agent communication portal until the core network is secure. The recovery team uses this map to bring systems back online in a controlled sequence, testing at every step to make sure everything is stable. But what if the main system is too damaged or compromised to bring back quickly? This is where the most important part of the playbook comes in: redundancy and failover. Intelligence agencies build their critical systems with massive redundancy. This means having duplicate systems, or mirrors, often in physically separate, hardened locations. These can be hot sites, which are fully operational, real-time replicas of the primary system, or cold sites, which are dormant facilities that can be activated within hours. The rise of cloud computing has made this even more powerful, with what's known as Disaster Recovery as a Service, or DRaaS. This allows an agency to fail over to a secure cloud-based environment almost instantly. This strategy ensures that a single point of failure, whether it's a server in Maryland or a cut fiber optic cable in the Atlantic, can't take out the entire intelligence operation. In our Operation Nightshade scenario, the team determines the main system was hit by a new type of malware. Bringing it back online is too risky, so they execute a failover. With a few authenticated commands, they reroute all network traffic to a hot site thousands of miles away. Within minutes, the surveillance grid flickers back to life. The analysts have eyes on the target again, and the mission is back on. The compromised primary system is now completely cut off, a digital crime scene waiting to be analyzed. Modern recovery playbooks also use agile techniques from the software world. One of the most effective is the feature flag. Imagine a new AI threat analysis tool is rolled out, but it has a bug that's causing the system to be unstable. Instead of going through a long process to undo the entire update, a feature flag lets operators just turn that one feature off. This instantly reverts it to the stable version with no downtime at all. When every second counts, that kind of surgical precision is priceless. These strategies are all moving toward what's known as agentic AI, where AI systems don't just write reports but can actually take action on their own. The future of system recovery will likely be driven by AI solutions that can predict threats and stop disruptions before they even happen. The immediate crisis of Operation Nightshade is over, but the work is far from done. Every single incident is followed by a thorough post-mortem. What went wrong? What went right? How can the playbook be better? These lessons are used to update response plans and build stronger defenses. But the most advanced organizations don't wait for a real failure to learn. They practice something called security chaos engineering. First pioneered by companies like Netflix, chaos engineering is the practice of deliberately breaking things in a controlled setting to find weaknesses before an attacker does. A security chaos engineering team might simulate a ransomware attack, disable a key firewall, or flood the network with junk data just to see how the system and the human teams react. It's the intelligence world's version of a fire drill, but for incredibly complex digital systems. It builds muscle memory and uncovers hidden flaws in a way that no theoretical exercise ever could. This proactive mindset, assuming that failure is inevitable and preparing for it, is what makes an organization resilient instead of just vulnerable. The world of espionage is a constant arms race between offense and defense. As technology gets faster, the resilience of the systems behind the spies is often more important than the spies themselves. For the IT professionals, security analysts, and system architects watching, what's the single most important rule in your own crisis recovery playbook? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The spy agency playbook for system failure is a layered strategy built on containment, analysis, and resilient design. It's a race against time where the goal isn't just to restore service, but to do it with stealth and precision. As cyber threats become more automated and AI-driven, the ability to recover from failure quietly and quickly will be the ultimate strategic advantage. The next global conflict might not be won by the nation with the most advanced weapons, but by the one whose systems can take a punch and get right back up.